Millionaires with Cardano.
Let's get into it.
So today, guys, we're going to be talking all about how, there's going to be millionaires made with Cardano's ADA and the Cardano ecosystem. As we get into this video, guys, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new here to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies and hidden gems, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By becoming a subscriber, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? And Chris, is there anything else that you would like to add before we jump on down to the desktop and start talking about everything Cardano?
Yeah, just let us know around roughly the date that you got involved in Cardano. Really interested to know.
Fantastic. Right, let's jump on down and get right on into it.
Let's do it.
Right, guys. So this is a bit of a hot topic that a lot of people have been talking about in the space, and it's all about millionaires being made with Cardano, and there's quite a few different ways that this is actually happening. So the first one and the easiest one to kind of explain and get across the line there has to be obviously just hodling ADA. Now it all depends on when you potentially purchased ADA, and I'm not saying it's possible to do right now, Chris, but ultimately it is something that was a lot easier if you were thinking a year ago about the future and what it holds. Right now, if you were to FOMO in, you could still make $1 million. I'm pretty confident on that, but it would cost a lot more to start that journey. With many people actually getting into Cardano far earlier, actually a lot of millionaires with Cardano's ADA would have been made at a significant less price. Ultimately, if you were to start looking at Cardano's ADA at the beginning of the year of 2021, you could have picked up ADA for a pretty penny of only 17 cents. Of course, that was still quite expensive in comparison to when many other people got into Cardano. If you're thinking last May, when you could have picked up Cardano for 5 cents, it does seem quite expensive. But nonetheless, you could have picked up a reasonable bag of Cardano 1 year ago and been in an incredible position today that actually, if you're starting to think about what the future holds for Cardano, we could see Cardano reaching quite comfortably $5, $6 range, and I still think that you're likely to see a 10x from this current position this year. And of course, we still do have that opportunity for a super cycle, which I think would extend from this year into next year. And if we do see a super cycle here for Cardano, where a $20 or even a $30 range could be accomplished, then I think ultimately you would have to have a significant less number of Cardano ADA coins to be able to facilitate the need of becoming a millionaire. So let's just park that thought for a second, Chris, and start thinking that if you were able to pick up, Cardano's ADA 1 year ago, and we're going to go for a modest $5 price target, then you would have only have needed 200,000 ADA, right?
Yeah, that's right, Nick. Yeah, and I mean, I still think that it's possible with 100,000 ADA to potentially get there. Blue sky world, everything goes according to plan. But I think that the point that's being made here is the bear market's where the money's actually made. Like when you start looking at these projects that have longevity to them, and the tech's amazing, and they're going to do some fantastic things in the real world, right?
That's exactly it. So ultimately, this is why I'm really excited for the bear market, even though we're in the middle of a bull market. The bear market is where you do all of your research. It's where you make your investments, and it's where you hodl. It's where you dollar cost average, and you get really strong positions on projects that you think have true potential. And Cardano was definitely one of those. If you were getting in a year ago and you were able to secure 200,000 ADA, then actually, you're in a very, very good position, because, it only requires you to go to $5 to net out $1 million, out of Cardano and out of ADA. Now, of course, if you were getting in at the start of this year, you could still pick it up for 17 cents, which is an absolute steal considering the prices that it is today. So even then, you could have still picked up a pretty reasonable bag. And, depending on how heavily invested you are, you may also then be looking to maybe extend that price target from $5 to maybe $10, in which case you would only need half the amount, right? And again, if you're still thinking about a super cycle and whether or not we're going to go for that $20 range, which, would be an extended bull run, then I think ultimately yet you would even need less. That's like 50,000 ADA. And if you were thinking about that kind of scenario at the start of the year, then yes, you would be in a very good, strong position. So there's huge ways to become millionaires just with hodling ADA, but there are many other alternatives. And there's opportunities that are yet to present themselves, but they do have a few caveats with them. So the first one has to be Cardano's smart contracts. When we see Cardano's smart contracts ushered in with the Gscohen era, we are going to see some additional projects launched. And these things will be like liquid finance, for example. And these projects are not actually live yet, and those coins that they'll be utilizing are not yet live. And therefore, those are the ones that you potentially have explosive gains to be made. So there's still additional ways to be making huge and significant profits on and returns on your investment on Cardano's ecosystem outside of just hodling ADA. So I think there's a list of projects, Chris, that I think are worth potentially, investigating further. I think liquid finance has to be one of them, as well as, Occam Finance, for example. And there's quite a few others. It's worth doing some research now, guys, before those smart contracts launch to find out which projects are worth investigating and going after. You just have to look at things like Polkadot ecosystem to realize the potential of some of these explosive projects. If you look at PokerStarter, for example, and how well that launchpad has done, I think ultimately if you look for similar kind of projects on the Cardano ecosystem, I think you'll have a pretty good result. So CardStarter for starters. So I think, Chris, ultimately there's another way that you could utilize Cardano's ecosystem and still facilitate becoming a millionaire. It does not mean that you have to hodl just ADA. So I think this is fantastic things, but obviously when it comes to these native assets that will be running on Cardano's ecosystem, it is dependent on the ecosystem itself. So it's important that we watch out for that smart contract functionality and making sure that that actually gets ushered into the sphere on time and in a timely way. And then we'll start seeing those migration of projects from Ethereum over to Cardano. We'll see those native tokens being launched on Cardano's ecosystem, and we'll start seeing some of those explosive gains. And of course, with that obviously comes the Cardano scalability solution, Hydra, which we spoke about in yesterday's video. This is going to be tested this year as well, which could have huge implications for true scalability of 1 to 2 million transactions per second, far superior to that of many of the other blockchains that you see in the space. So ultimately, I think Cardano is definitely going to be well positioned to really take advantage of this particular bull run, but it does rely on everything actually happening to scale, right, and on time. And this is the thing that we were talking about with Cardano, Chris, way back when we first started the channel. There's an opportunity which Charles Hoskinson and the wider team at IOG has, and that is that they can take advantage of this and work as hard as they have been to get these things issued out and put out on time. There's a huge opportunity for Cardano to really explode during this year. What we've seen so far has been fantastic. It's gone from the start of the year at 17 cents to $1.79 at the point of recording this video. That is a huge explosive gain, but there's still so much more in the tank here. They're doing this all without smart contracts, and to believe some of the FUD out there, Chris, it's a ghost chain with nothing built on it. Right? So imagine what will happen when we do have smart contracts and when you do have that migration of projects over from the Ethereum blockchain over to the Cardano ecosystem, and when those native projects that are being developed specifically for Cardano are launched. These are the things that are going to see Cardano really truly explode to the upside and see those massive gains and those parabolic runs that we've been seeking. I think there's a lot to be said for Cardano, for Charles Hoskinson and the wider team and the fantastic work they're doing there. It's just we want to see that timeline get hit. That roadmap needs to be nailed, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, we talked about this like last year an awful lot about the roadmap being stuck to, and the what was sort of planned in is achieved, and to a point I think we've seen that, and I think we're getting to that exciting point in time where we've got all the stuff going off in Africa, which is wonderful, but the smart contract side of things is that next catalyst for me. It's going to be remarkable, and I think you mentioned obviously Polkadot and their ecosystem and what we're seeing there, I kind of expect similar things, just like yourself for Cardano. So yeah, it's wonderful. It's going to be really interesting and exciting. And yeah, for me, it's a case of, we're getting to that point now where people should start thinking about, taking profits throughout the bull market. And I think that's something to call out, alongside the fact that, millionaires are made in a bear market.
Absolutely. So just to summarize, guys, there's multiple different ways that you could leverage the Cardano ecosystem to facilitate your desires. If you want to become a millionaire and you kind of feel that you've missed the boat with ADA, then do some more research on those native tokens and those native projects that are going to be, deployed on the Cardano ecosystem. Those are going to be the next ones for Cardano's ADA that are going to truly explode. And of course, if you are, a forward thinker and were able to pay attention early on, then you got a pretty good position with Cardano's ADA. Then you'll be looking forward to those smart contracts being ushered in and all of the fantastic parabolic runs that ADA itself will be having. With that being said, guys, hopefully you found this video useful and informative. If you have, then do go ahead and hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies and hidden gems, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By being a subscriber, you'll be kept up to date with everything we do here. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? And with that said, done and out of the way, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.